In this segment, we take a ride with three intrepid souls on a flight of fancy. Steve Irwin, Ralph Sanford, and Gordy Johnson each own and operate powered parachutes. The machines are basically three-wheeled go-karts with a motor and a pusher prop to scoot them along, and a highly maneuverable parachute to anchor them in the sky. Before we go up, however, Steve Irwin gives us a detailed look at their construction.
This is a Buckeye powered parachute, and they have two-cylinder aircraft engines. They're two-cycle. This is an oil-injected, liquid-cooled engine. It develops 66 horsepower, and as you can see, it has dual plugs per cylinder and dual magnetos and dual carburetors. Everything's redundant in case they do have an engine outage, but these are anybody that flies any ultralights in the industry and experimental aircraft use Rotex engines, and they're state-of-the-art. You can see this is the radiator here, and then this is the oil tank for the oil injection, and the fuel tank here.
And what is the capacity of the fuel tank?
The capacity of the fuel tank is 8 gallons, and when I'm flying by myself, I can fly for 2.5 hours safe, and when I'm flying with two people, when I'm flying with a passenger, I can fly for 1 hour and 15 minutes safe. This is the seating configuration for when I'm flying by myself. And when you have a passenger in here, they're real easy to change. You just unzip this and fold down this unit here, zip it back up, and then your passenger puts their feet right here, and they sit right above you and a little bit higher. The instruments here, this is a regular ICOM A200 aircraft radio, so we can talk to the tower, and we can communicate with other planes when we're flying, so we can find where everybody is in the sky. This is an altimeter on this unit. This acts as the RPM and the time gauge. It gives you total time of that particular flight and total time that you have on your engine. These gauges down here are an EGT, which is exhaust gas temperature, and that tells you what each cylinder is doing. And on this unit, we have a water temperature gauge, just similar to a car gauge, that tells you what your whole engine is doing. This here is the throttle. Unlike planes, we don't have a rudder or an aileron, so when you turn, you push on one of these bars, and that puts more drag on one side or the other of the chute, and then of course the side that has more drag is the side you turn to. And when you put, of course, the more drag you put onto it, the sharper you turn, and you can turn quite sharp with these. Now the throttle is, the only thing the throttle is used for is to climb, and so the more throttle you pull on, this particular unit only flies 30 miles an hour. So when it reaches that 30 miles an hour, when you pull more power on, it'll start to climb, and when you decrease in power, it'll start to descend. This part here is the starter rope. Some of these do have electric starts, but I chose not to because, one, this engine is so easy to start, and two, because of the more weight that you put on this machine, then the less useful load you have. The prop itself is what they call a composite prop, and these are real sturdy. They're very reliable type units now that they have. The way that you determine the RPM that you have in the engine is by, the top RPM that you have in the engine is by spacing you have a spacers back here, and you space in and out the prop to put more pitch into it, and that determines you can actually set your red line wherever you want it, so the engine doesn't over rev. And the red line on this one is 6,800 RPMs, and I have this one set right at 63 right now, and it runs real well right there. We have the beacons, the anti-collision strobes. There's, on this unit, there's one on top and one on the bottom, and these flash twice on top, and then they alternate and flash twice on bottom, and then alternate again back up to twice on top and back twice on bottom.
Well, what about brakes?
There are none. we don't have any brakes on these. When you're dragging a 500 square foot chute behind you, you don't need brakes. The chute, when you cut the power on the unit, the chute acts as your brakes, and it slows you right down to very quickly.
And here we have the main chute lines that connect the chute to the machine. This is your steering lines, and these lines are used just like a skydiver. A skydiver has them connected to his hands, except with this powered parachute setup, this line is connected to foot pedals so that the pilot hands are free, and he uses his feet to steer the powered parachute. And here you have your A and B risers connected, and when you set up, you make sure that your A risers and your B risers are all untangled and separate from your steering lines. Most important thing on takeoff is to have your bottom of your chute out underneath and your steering lines untangled here, so that when you take off, you'll be able to steer. This chute is ripstop nylon, and it won't, you can put a hole in it and stuff, but it won't keep ripping on you, and that's the safety factor of it. They're pretty expensive, $2,500 to $3,000 a chute. But when we lay them out, we inspect the chute for any new holes, tears, or anything there. And this chute here is designed for a max load of 1,000 pounds.
After a few years of flying from locales such as Eagle Beach and Mendenhall Lake, when it's frozen over, they managed to come to an agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration and the Juneau Airport to fly out of a small grass field located across from Fred Meyers between Temsco Helicopters and Wings of Alaska's hangar.
In order to fly into the nautical airspace at Juneau Airport, Steve Irwin and myself had to work for 2.5 years to get a signed agreement with the FAA and the airport administration so that we can fly out of this airport. And one of the qualifications is have a minimum of 40 hours of powered parachute flight. And that's getting used to the radios and navigational talk with other pilots and stuff. And so if anybody buys a powered parachute, you just can't come out to the airport and take off. You need to get your minimum of 40 hours of actual powered parachute flight time before you can be taken off at the grass strip at the Juneau Airport.
Okay, it all sounds pretty good so far, but before you get me up in this contraption, the all-important question is this thing safe?
A powered parachute is one of the more safer forms of flying there is, because basically you're under parachute. So if anything happens, your engine quits or anything, you've got a glide ratio of 7.5 to 1, 7 to 1 glide ratio. So your engine quits, you can glide on in and just land like a regular skydiver does and touch down. It should be no problem as long as you have a clear field or a street, parking lot, or something below you to land in. Flying in and around the Juneau vicinity from the Juneau Airport to downtown, a lot of people sometimes see us close to Egan Drive. Helicopters a lot of times are at 500 feet, fixed wing are at 750 feet, 800 feet, and we got larger jet aircraft and stuff coming down the channel, the middle of the channel at 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet. So a lot of times the tower will request us when we're flying between Salmon Creek to fly over Egan Drive, north of Egan Drive, 300 feet and below. And so a lot of times we're flying that low just because of safety and the amount of traffic in the Juneau area.
As you can well imagine, it gets a little cold 1,500 feet up in the sky in the middle of November, and the trio dons Mustang suits to provide much needed warmth while they explore the realm of eagles. For myself, I relied on a borrowed diver's dry suit and bunny boots to ward off the chill, and found that in the end they were well suited to the task.
Okay, Rick, are you ready? Are you smiling?
I am ready.
All right. That's what we like to see.
Yes, indeed.
And Steve's ready?
I was born ready. Very good.
And here we are at the Juneau International Airport, the grass strip between Temsco and Wings, power parachute takeoff spot.
Okay. And I'll reach down and grab my... But we'll just reach up and pull it. Okay. Okay.
Juneau Tower, Buckeye powered parachute.
Buckeye powered parachute, Juneau Tower.
Buckeye, I'd like to depart the grass strip and join the other powered parachute in the air.
Buckeye powered parachute departure at your own discretion.
Buckeye powered parachute. Okay, let's go flying.
Juneau Tower, good morning. Temsco 25 Quebec is Eagle Crest arrival, destination Yankee. Temsco 25 Quebec, Juneau Tower, good afternoon. Report the gravel pit for runway crossing, please. 25 Quebec, roll report the gravel pit.
Alrighty, here we are again.
From 1,600 feet up over the Mendenhall Glacier, the view of the valley is utterly magnificent, which is, in my opinion, one of the best reasons that there is to own one of these machines. Besides, how many shutterbugs can get a shot of the visitor center from this angle? There's a common misconception that these machines are unregulated, the pilots unlicensed, and that for anybody to fly one, you only have to buy one. But as Ralph Sanford explains, there's a lot more to it than that.
Okay, in order to fly one of these powered parachutes, a two-seater, you need to have a basic flight instructor's license. And that's a minimum of 25 hours of instructions from other qualified BFI pilots. And that is through the Aerosports Connection, and they provide the materials in the books and the FAA exemptions in order for us to fly out here in the airspace with other pilots and stuff. We fly under a federal exemption with the Aerosports Connection and the FAA. The paperwork is quite involved. It's you have to pass a 100-question test on the principles and theories of flight and the ram air parachute. And so it's quite involved and pretty extensive. So you do need to be qualified to fly these things around. You can't just go buy a machine and fly around town and stuff.
Flying in and out of the airspace here, we had a problem with perceptions of just being people who were, one, unlicensed, two, unregulated, and that is not fact. In the past 2 years, we have proven that we were responsible pilots, that our machines are registered.
Okay, and what does it cost to get into one of these?
These units vary anywhere from probably now around 11,000, maybe 11.5 up to about 16,000, which isn't real expensive for flying. It isn't any more expensive than a good motorcycle or a skiff motor trailer package. They're about the same price. Of course, they have add-ons, aftermarket things that as much money as you have, you can keep spending just like any other sport. Communications is one thing that surprised me how much it cost. You can spend anywhere from $1,000 to $3,500 in communications with radios and helmets and intercoms for these units. And that was one thing that I was shocked at how much they cost.
By all outward appearances, these are flights of pure fancy, floating gracefully in the sky. To slip the surly bonds of earth and dance the skies on laughter-silvered wings. But the winds in the mountainous terrain around Juneau are often quite fickle, and as we found out, the calm serenity can turn around in the space of a single breath.
We got people down below waving at us. Oh, come on now. That's almost like a little thermal action, huh? Yeah. Now we're getting wind over this. They're coming over these trees, see?
West departure, Lena Point with information Zulu.
Oh. Come on.
Temsco 25, Quebec, Juneau Tower departure approved. 25 Quebec.
Yeah, this is not good. May not be nice anywhere right at the moment. Look at him climb. Yeah, it's quite a bit cleaner out here, huh? So far. So far, yeah. Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, Juneau Tower, flight of 2 powered parachutes between Sunny Point and Fred Meyers coming in for landing on the grass strip. Powered parachute flight, roger, landing at your own discretion. Roger, powered parachute.
But it just shows how strong these units are, you know? That's what I mean. They can be a whole handful.
Yeah. I mean, it was pitching around quite a bit. I was surprised how much rocking and rolling it was doing, but I could still feel that pendulum action wanting to stabilize itself naturally.
Right. It does. It wants to be underneath the chute.
55 Quebec, looking. Temsco 25
After a couple of tries of getting around the whirlwinds above Sunny Point, we finally yielded to the principles of Newton's laws of gravity and glided gently down to terra firma, there again to dream of exercising our wings on flights of fancy.